The following video is one in a series on spiritual resilience training, a non-religious view of personal values and their dynamics with others. The contents reflect a variety of principles and practices of systems theory in relational counseling for team building and family resilience. Although the series is intended to support Army Corps values, each video also encourages the viewer to reflect on their current prominent values in specific situations and to consider what values may be more appropriate to means and results that are honorable and helpful with others. Chaplain Dillard initiates creating and posting these videos. Their contents and YouTube's linked videos do not necessarily reflect specific beliefs, practices, requirements, or endorsements of the Department of Defense, its subordinate organizations, or other groups with which Chaplain Dillard is affiliated.
Welcome back. This is the second in our series. If you didn't see the first, please watch that. That's foundational, explains that spectrum of management from avoiding management to attacking management and the various different types. Today we're going to look at suggestions for team members of those micromanagers, specifically building the leader's trust in team cohesion for the vision. Now, remember we talked a little bit at the end about vision. I didn't go into detail. I have other videos on vision. Vision basically is a very specific picture of the better future for the team. What is it that you want this team to look like? What should the team be? What are the goals? Why do you exist? And so that you know when you're doing what you're supposed to do. And I've got several suggestions in here. This is not a magic wand. It's not a panacea that will solve everything. These are some suggestions, realizing that the micromanager has issues or a lack of training in cohesion. They tend to think only from their perspective. Could be out of fear, could be out of pride, we don't know. But the impact is it's causing division on the team, it's degrading the team's work. And so your goal as a team member is to help that leader or that potential leader build the cohesion of the team. You've got to see yourself as a partner with them, even though you may have seen yourself as a victim or an adversary. You must see yourself as a team member with them to help them grow in the goodness of cohesion. That will be a win-win. I've broken this down into professional suggestions, recommendations, and a few personal as well. Let's take a look at these one at a time. Invest in the big picture of the team's vision and your details within it. I've alluded to that already. That means you need to know, why are you a part of this team? Not meaning why did you join, but what is the purpose of the team and what is your specific job or responsibilities within that team. It's very easy to focus on the micromanager, what they're doing that is not fair, what they're not doing that you need. But then you take your eyes off of, how do you fit? What is supposed to be your part in this team? That will help you get your eyes off of the problem of the micromanager and back onto the solutions of helping the team succeed. That's an initial mental check or motivational check, not just to survive the micromanager, but to be a productive part for the team, even though currently it's very divided and degraded. Secondly, remember that your boss is likely struggling with something too. It can really help you to see them either kind of as their inner child that has not gotten over some of the things that has led them to become a micromanager, or to see them as someone who really lacks training and they're very immature in their ability to lead others. That's not looking down on them. That's not stating something negative about them. It's simply who they are. That they are wounded, that they're struggling, or that they're really just kind of immature. They haven't grown into those abilities that they can learn. When you see them in that light, it'll be easier for you to have compassion on them. It'll be easier for you to see them as someone with whom you need to partner to help them succeed, and not as a monster that's trying to get you, even though it might feel that way. Another suggestion is to praise them to others for their positives toward the vision. Never gossip about them. Now, Why do this? You really may have to look for positives for which to praise them. But as my mom used to say when she was a kindergarten teacher, you got to catch them being good. And praise them to other people, so you're reminding yourself and the team, look, they're not all bad. Yeah, they do micromanage. They hover. They yell where they can talk. They bark instead of listening sometimes. They have all these negative things. Now, you may be saying those to yourself. Don't say those to others, because others already know it for one thing, and that's just intensifying the division and the degradation of the team. Catch them being good. Spread that to others, even in their hearing, and there's several positive benefits to that. It helps people realize or remember that they're not all bad, and it lets the micromanager know that you have a level of respect for them. And thirdly, they may be more likely to repeat those type of positives when they hear others rewarding them for it, even if it's just a brief verbal comment to coworkers. It's not brown-nosing, it's not sucking up, it's stating something that's true for a very practical impact that you might help that to happen again. Another thing you can do is to initiate an IPR, which is an interim progress report, and ask how you can help before they direct you to help. An IPR means that you either by sticking your head in the door very briefly, depending on when they're open and how they respond to that, shooting them an email, a brief phone call, a note in their inbox, whatever, to say, okay, boss, you wanted me to do these things. Here's where I am in that. Here's what I've done. Here's what I've not done. Here's what I'm in progress of doing. What can I do next? You're showing initiative, and that will have several positive benefits as well. They don't have to come looking for you because you've gone looking for them. It also lets them know that you're being active in the work that concerns them, and that mitigates their anxiety or anger. So that works in everybody's favor. Another thing you can do is to build your competence by training that you can control toward the vision. Whatever the purpose is of the team, wherever you exist, what training do you need to be more successful for that vision? And it needs to be training you can control. If you need the boss's permission to take time off, if you need the boss's money to go to that training, you can't control that. But if there's something you can do during your lunch hour or at home or on the weekends that doesn't obviously greatly conflict with your personal or family goals and time as well, invest yourself in that training so you can grow in your competence, because all of us can grow in competence, can grow in competence. And one of the things that really gets the goat, so to speak, of the micromanager is failure. And we all fail. We all fail. Failure just means that we don't know everything. We can't do everything. It means we're human. But for a micromanager, it freaks them out. So to grow in your competence will help them freak out less. And that will be a win-win for you and for them. Another recommendation is to own your mistakes quickly and state exactly what you would do differently. Again, we all make mistakes. When you make a mistake, it's better for you, especially if it has some effect on the micromanager or the one who's micromanaging. I don't want to label them and say that's who they are, that's the way they're acting right now, or the rest of the team. If there's going to be any ripple effect at all, go quickly and say, hey boss, this is what I did, this is why that happened, this is what I'll do differently next time. Now they might still yell at you, they might still have a little tirade, there might still be negative consequences that you don't like, but I guarantee you it will be less than if they had to come to you and address it than if you go to them and address it, especially if you come with a solution of what you would do differently had you had the opportunity to do it again. Don't say, next time I will, because they'll say, there will not be a next time. Say, if I had the chance to do it over, I would have done this instead. That lets them know that you're being proactive and thinking about ways to improve yourself. Another suggestion, thank them for constructive feedback toward the vision and be very specific about what was helpful. They're going to give you lots of feedback. Micromanagers do. Again, I'm labeling that person. My apologies. The person who is struggling with being with micromanaging type of disposition. They're going to give you feedback. Some of it you're going to have to let roll off because they're just yelling and they're upset. Some of it is really going to be true and would be helpful to you. Thank them for those things and be very specific. Thank you. I had not thought about trying that third person. I didn't realize that they had some expertise or some experience in that area. I'm jotting their phone number down right now so I can have that in the future. That helps me realize more of the resources, be very specific about how they were helpful. That lets them know that you're listening. That lets them know that you have a level of respect for them. That lets them know that you're trying to be cohesive with them, and it will increase the likelihood that they are more cohesive with you, because people who micromanage typically also feel very alone because we tend to draw back from them. They seem threatening and intimidating, so they typically either want to be alone, the top dog at the top of the hill, or they don't. It just happens that way because of the way they're treating others. Another suggestion is to build greater consistency in your schedule and your products toward the vision. You probably have some things that are due every Monday at 1 o'clock, some things that are due every last Friday of the month. Make sure that your schedule is accurate and that you turn things in on time, even early, because that will let your manager know that you are organized, that you're proactive, and it's so important that you are deliberate to do this and that you write it down or put it on your electronic device, because when someone is our boss over us and they are micromanaging us, and this could be a spouse, this could be a parent, this could be your work boss, anybody we're talking about in a position of authority over you, we really start to get afraid and angry. And fear and anger makes our heart race, which draws blood away from our brain, which means we don't think as clearly, which means we're more likely to miss things for which we are scheduled and our responsibilities. We get the brain lock because our heart's pumping and we're not thinking clearly. So write it down. Have a cue on your phone to buzz 3 days before this is due, or 15 minutes before you're supposed to walk to that office for a meeting, so that you're having helps to work on time, to do things on time, and that will improve that relationship. Another recommendation is, if they continue in a hostile work environment, consider your options and follow through on one. Now, if the person over you is a micromanager and they are unwilling to change, and I'm not saying that you try these suggestions for a day, but over a period of time, you and your colleagues or other family members or the rest of the football team, whoever that person is, and you're really trying to do your best over a long period of time, and they're not changing at all. Maybe it's because they are so proud they don't think they should change, or they're so terrified they can't see beyond their own concerns. You need to know your options, because someone who is persistently micromanaging may only respond to consequences. Who can you appeal to above them? What are your legal rights? What can you realistically do that, instead of dangling a carrot, look, here's some benefits to changing, you can dangle somebody else's stick. Look, boss, I want to work for you. I want our team to succeed. I believe that cohesion is the best way to go. But this is a hostile place. I can't serve you well. I can't be productive as a member of your team when you're always threatening me. And if you're going to continue to threaten me, I got to think of ways to help you change, even if it's somebody else waving a stick, namely going to a lawyer, going to your boss. Now, research those options before you talk to them. Make sure that your rights are truly your rights. Make sure that if you take that route, that other person can follow through. And then also, brief your boss before you go. Don't ever go behind their back. Give them an opportunity to say, well, hold on. Before you go talking to them, let's see if we can work through this. You want to keep the solution at the lowest level possible, always. Because once you go to the top, above them, there might not be anybody higher that you can appeal to. So think about the second and third order effects. Make sure it's a realistic plan, that it will work. Give them a chance to respond to it before you go. But if they're still persistent, you're going to have to go. They may call your bluff. They may try to make life even harder on you in subtle ways so that you'll back down. If they only listen to consequences, you're going to have to bring some consequences to their activities that are creating a hostile work environment. Personally, for you, here's a couple of suggestions. Build your cohesion in a team and esteem in lifelong family and friends, not your job. I know that you spend 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week or more with this person, and they do impact the way you view yourself and your esteem and your purpose. But you've got to invest that in lifelong family and friends who really know who you are, because one day you'll retire from that job or you'll move from that job. Find out who you really are from your spouse, from your kids, from your parents, from your best friends who know you inside and out and say, I appreciate you, I love you, I'm committed to you, and realize that is a reflection of real relationship and who you really are. If you try to look to receive that from your job and you work for somebody who's micromanaging, you're going to be disappointed always. And lastly, model and share some of those relationships with your boss and the team. If you've got a really good marriage, have your spouse over sometimes. If you've got a great family and it's family day, have your family over sometimes. At a social function where all of your colleagues are going out together, have your family with you. That'll have several benefits. One, your spouse or your kids or your parents or whoever will see your boss, get to know them. Your boss is going to be a little less likely to be intimidating towards you because now they've met some of your family members who saw them with their best foot forward at dinner, and they have a level of expectation. I need to live up to be that person that they met at the restaurant or the bowling alley or wherever your social event was. And also, if you model good family relationships to your boss, it can give them ideas. Wow, they're not going to use this word, but that's a pretty cohesive family. Those are some of the benefits to being more of a team, treating each other with respect and forgiveness and understanding and kindness and commitment. And that can go a little ways toward helping them think about how to treat their own family, where they may have some very difficult relationships. Hope that's helpful to you. We'll see you next time when we talk to the leader who is struggling with micromanagement, because like I said, they're probably not a monster. They're probably struggling with something, and they need some ways that they can grow beyond what they've been doing, and we'll address that next time. Hope to see you then.
At the release date of this video, I am stationed with Research Development and Engineering Command, RDECOM, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Because the majority of our personnel are in this area, I spend most of my time here. I do, however, travel to our distant units based on command priorities and budget. I place these videos on YouTube for broad visibility to Army personnel and their families, but I hope the videos will be helpful to others too. If you are assigned to RDECOM and want to request specific topics by video, training on site or by VTC, or confidential counseling on site or by secure webcam, you can contact me at jeffrey.d.dillard.mil@mail.mil.